Today's video lesson is about seed dispersal. So by now, you should be very familiar with this cycle. Okay, this is the cycle of a flowering and fruiting plant. This one in particular is an apple tree, so let's have a look how it goes. Seed develops into a seedling if it has the right conditions. It will eventually become a mature adult plant, develop some flowers, and those flowers will then be pollinated by an insect or an animal. Fertilization will occur and it will grow into a lovely big plump, yummy delicious apple. Okay, we quite often talk about this part of the process in detail. We talk a lot about pollination, we talk a lot about the parts of the flower and their purpose, and we talk a lot about how the fertilized ovule will then develop into seeds and the ovary, the plump fruit around it. But we do often skim over the next part of the process, which is seed dispersal. It's very, very important. Okay, why is seed dispersal so important? Because plants need to make sure that they spread themselves far and wide to ensure that their species remain strong, so it doesn't die out. If the seeds are not dispersed and the plants don't continue to grow in other areas, then eventually they're not going to be around anymore, or they might only be around in a very, very small location. Plants do try to spread themselves far and wide to ensure that they are always present and that they are a healthy species. Okay, so let's have a little look at seed dispersal in more detail. Okay, here is my apple tree. Now, I'm going to draw a little apple in there. Actually, apples aren't orange. Well, if your apple is orange, there might be something wrong with it. So here's my red apple up in the tree. Okay, one day, the apple falls down to the ground. And after a little while, that apple flesh rots away, and all that's left is a lovely little apple seed right there. Now, that apple seed could then germinate and grow into an apple tree. However, being right there underneath the host plant, it's not going to have a very good start to life, and it might not grow up to be very healthy at all. It might not even grow up to survive. So why is this a bad place? For two main reasons. One, this little tiny seed needs water and sunlight to grow. So sunlight might be hard to come by if it's right underneath a big tree because it's in the shade. So that's one reason why being straight underneath the parent plant is not a good idea. Another reason is because this little tiny seed little seedling that it develops into will be competing against this big mature plant for nutrients and water from the soil. Now, what chance has a little tiny seedling got against a big tree with lots and lots and lots and lots of roots? Very little chance. So that's a terrible place for that seed to grow. Over here, however, would be a perfect place for the seed to grow. Lovely sunshine, lots of area, no other plants to compete with. So how does seed get from here to here? Well, in this scenario, an animal would probably come along and eat the apple, go for a walk over here, and poop it out. Well, not poop the apple out, poop the seed out. So he'd eat the flesh of the apple, and the seed will go through his digestion system unchanged and come out in his poopies. Alright, so now what we've got is a seed in a great position far away from the parent plant, and that seed is already encased in a fantastic ball of poopy plant food. Let's get my words right. All that poo around that seed is a fantastic source of nutrients for that seed. So it has every chance to grow into a nice, healthy, big, adult apple tree. Okay? That is one of the methods in which animals play a part. So animals can disperse seeds through digestion. They can also disperse seeds through the hook method, and that is where a seed has some type of mechanism on there or some type of design where it can hook onto an animal's fur or into their feet or whatever. That's called the hook method. So basically the seed hitches a ride on the animal to a faraway location so the plant can grow away from the host plant. There is also wind. Wind is a seed dispersal method, usually by trees or plants that are very, very tall. So they've got a long distance down to the ground, and they might have special flying mechanisms on there. So they might be designed like a wing glider, or maybe that might look like they've got helicopter blades. So they can float down to the ground, float down to through the canopy onto the ground and find a nice place far away from the host plant. We'll watch a really cool video on wind dispersal as well. Or it might even be, it doesn't have to be up high, it might be a little tiny flower on the ground that has little tiny hairs that you might blow away. I'm sure you can think of one where you go and make a wish, okay? Now, there's also the water dispersal method. This is done by either a fruit or a seed that can float. So these seeds might need to float far away to be dispersed somewhere else. So think of maybe a coconut. Might fall out of the coconut tree, roll down the beach and float down to another island or a beach further down for it to wash up upon shore and grow another coconut tree. All right, one more. That's right, bursting. This is probably my favourite. It's definitely the far most spectacular seed dispersal method. So bursting occurs when seeds are encased in a pod. Like, where are they? Up. Kind of like a bean pod. So when the bean pod dries out, it becomes very, very, there's a lot of tension in that dry pod, and one day it will pop open and those little bean seeds in there, they will shoot out. Okay? Some of them can shoot out quite spectacularly, and we will show you a video on some really, really, really cool bursting seed pods. Okay? So these are the four main seed dispersal methods: by animals, by digestion or hook, by the wind, by the water, and by bursting. Okay, and we are going to do an investigation in class to see how these seeds do get dispersed with those methods. Okay, see you later. Bye.